Hello there, it's Jacqueline Bear. So as you can see, I have this very large box sitting on my lap here. I have been wanting to get back into acrylic painting, so when Meeden so kindly reached out and said, hey, do you want to do a video for some of our products? I knew that I exactly wanted to get acrylic paints, and I thought that this whole package of the French plein air art easel and all the acrylic paints and things that go with it would be perfect. So as you know, I love painting with like my acrylic gouaches, but I've been itching to get my hands on acrylic paints. I used to paint with acrylics a long time ago, and I more recently went to a paint and sip studio where I got to paint with acrylics, and it just sparked something in me where I wanted to do it again. So this plein air French easel is perfect for me to dive right back into painting a little bit larger scale, painting with acrylics, having an easel that I can set up, perhaps not in my tiny one-bedroom apartment, but my balcony outside. I thought would be so fun this summer to set it up and paint out there as well. And then of course, taking it out on adventures, which is what I'm going to do with you here today. I want to give you inspiration and tips for getting outdoors and slowing down in life and just creating for the sake of creating. Plein air painting for me is a perfect way to combine going outdoors and creating art. I love slowing down. I love observing flowers and the landscape and the light and everything that I love about the outdoors without perhaps going on a grand adventure. Like I like just sitting and slowing down and getting that wonderful fresh air. So I hope that this gives you the inspiration to go outside, even if it's just your balcony or your backyard or your front porch or something. I love going outdoors and painting. It's a fun new challenge each time that I do it, and I have so much fun. But first, I want to unbox all of this. So let's do that. So as you can see, it came in a nice large box. It was actually around another box too, but I already took everything out at least, so it'd be a little easier for me to showcase each of the pieces. But I did keep this big box to show you that it is quite a large present, that you give yourself, give a friend, give a sibling, give a kid, give whoever you might want to have a wonderful acrylic plein air painting whole setup. So we're going to dive into each thing. So this is the beautiful plein air easel. I got it in the lighter color. I think it's maple. I really thought it was quite beautiful. I will set this up to show you what it looks like all unfolded and whatnot, but for now, this is what it's like. Practically everything in it. It gets nice and heavy, so I probably, when I go out, not bring absolutely everything, just pick the things that I know I need. I like that it is more compact. Obviously, when I paint with watercolor, I put it in my little fanny pack, and it's so much smaller, so I'm so excited to get an easel that's still compact but is larger so that I can paint larger pieces. So it did come with a utility knife, so I had already opened that so that I could open different things. But I really like that it came with this little pencil case. So here's that retractable utility knife, which is come in handy for me to break down boxes, to open different things. So that's been really nice. It also came with a 4B pencil, so a pretty soft lead. I think that'll be really nice to like sketch with. And then a nice Meeden little white art eraser. And then I can also fill this with the other things I need, because I don't think I'll need the utility knife out in the field, but for now we'll just pop it in here. Oh, so it came with two palette knives. It has one that has this angle right here, and it's a rounded tip. This one looks more like a butter knife. So I'm pretty excited to play with those. I've never really done palette knives before, but if anything, it'll be really nice to mix my paints with. I do like mixing paints with palette knives over my brush, although I also mix it with my brush, but these are very nice to have. These are like more finer, the finer details of brushes, because they give me bigger brushes too. So this is a size 3. Looks like just a round brush. It's kind of Oh, that's nice. It has stiffer bristles. I prefer stiffer bristles. I know that there are artists out there that perhaps do like more florals and like with their watercolors or with acrylics or anything, and they like the softer bristles to help make the petals and the leaves and whatnot, but I kind of prefer a stiffer bristle. And then it also looks like I have a size 0. So I got a 3 and a 0 little round brushes. So that'll be really nice for the details that I do. And again, nice stiff bristles. So that works with how I like to work. Looks like I got a couple of bottles of things. I have an acrylic finish gloss varnish. So this will be for afterwards to protect it. So I might be able to do that here at home. Then it comes with a molding paste and an acrylic clear gel medium. So this will give it a little bit thicker. I haven't opened the acrylics yet to know like how like creamy or watery or fluid they are. So it'll be really, really nice to play around with these different mediums, this paste and this gel medium. I think this will be really, really nice. Then it looks like they gave me a zinc white. I love zinc white. I even have it for my gouache paints too. Zinc white is really, really helpful for mixing your colors. If you use like a primary white or something, those I like to use as my highlights, but not mixing it because it makes the colors almost too pastel-like. But zinc white is a good mixing white. So they gave me a whole bottle of that, as well as 9 colors. And it looks like one of them is titanium white. So titanium white is also a really good one for highlights. So yes, here's the titanium white. The zinc white's the same size. So they're the same size. The zinc white will be really good for mixing, and this titanium white will be really good when I want to add highlights. So perhaps the snow-capped mountains that we still have, although they are starting to melt. It is June, so they're melting more, but that'll be really, really nice. And then I have all of these colors. So let me just read them off for you. I have a lemon yellow and a mid yellow, a nice warm and cool yellow, a scarlet and a crimson for the reds, a Prussian blue and cerulean blue for the blues, a deep green, and a Mars black. And I'm really glad they gave me the zinc white because I don't use black like at all. I always mix my dark colors. So it'd be kind of nice perhaps if there wasn't a Mars black and they just put the 2 whites in here. But I also understand that beginners and other artists like to use black in their paintings. And who knows, maybe I'll mix it in there and kind of see what happens. And this is the Artist Paint brush set, a quality synthetic nylon. And it says that there's 4 rounds, 5 flats, 4 filberts, 1 angular, and 1 fan. It comes in a nice little case. Cool. So that is what these look like. I used to have a case like this before, where then you would put it up like this, and then you tighten that so it holds it in place. And then if you have like a space to set it down, or you're painting at home and you could put it on a table or something, that's just really nice that it like stands like this. And those feel really nice, pretty soft. But yeah, I got some nice flat ones, some filbert brushes. I'm excited to play around with these. I've seen some artists who use this to do more florals, and I've wanted to play around with that, so I've seen them use these for petals. So I'm glad it comes with a nice variety of those. Looser. And this is just really nice to have. And I'll show more close-ups of this easel. The other nice thing is how it's set up right now. I don't have the legs out, so it could be a really nice like tabletop easel as well. Although over there I do have another Meeden tabletop easel that I thrifted years ago, and I love the quality and how great it is. So super excited to have a bigger one. So it also came with a canvas pad, a disposable palette pad, and a wooden palette. So here is the wooden palette, which I'm assuming so that you can hold this in your arm and paint. I've never actually had a palette like this before, and that's pretty thick. Like, that's sturdy. That's really fun. And then it also came with a disposable palette pad. It has 20 sheets in here. I've had disposable palette pads before, especially for my acrylic gouache paintings. It's kind of fun that this one also has a circle so that you can hold it if you wanted to hold it in your arm. That's really nice. I like these type of palette pads. And then it also comes with canvas pad. Let's open this. So it's 100% cotton. Wow. Okay. I've never painted on like a pad of cotton paper before. Triple acrylic gesso primed for bleed proof heavy canvas for amazing absorption. So this is a really nice canvas pad. I like that. You can see the different color of, like, this is the canvas and they've already primed it with gesso. And then they also sent 2 of these 16 by 20 already stretched canvases. And this has the triple acrylic gesso primed for oil and acrylic painting. It's 100% cotton. Oh, and then on the back here, there's a 3-pack of 11 by 14 canvas panels. So they're not like in the frame, they're not just loose like the pad, but they're on panels. Everything that you need to get started, like not only just with the paints and the brushes, but giving you a variety of the canvas pad and like already big framed ones or panels that you can then put in a frame if you want to. Gives you a variety of like the bigger brushes with the long handles, some shorter handle ones so you can be a little bit more precise with your tiny little details that you might add in. And then also things to play around with, like the palette knives and the different mediums and pastes, and also to have an acrylic finish gloss varnish. That's really nice to seal in all of your paints and your beautiful creations that you create. So a huge thank you to Meeden for gifting me this wonderful set and sponsoring today's video. So if you would like to get this set, to get something maybe that you saw within the set or anything on their site, you can use my code JacquelineBearArt10 to receive 10% off of your order. So that will be in the description below. Go check it out. I'll put the links to all of these things and their site so that you can go look and see perhaps if there's something you'd like to go out and paint, which is what we're going to do next. Come with me as I paint a Colorado landscape with my brand new setup. I'm so excited to showcase the outdoors and tips that I have for getting outside, setting up to do a wonderful painting session, and a whole bunch of tips and tricks along the way. So come along with me. So as you can see, we are now in the mountains. I drove from my home after unboxing all of this. Beautiful setup. And as you know, Meeden reached out to me and they asked if they could send something to me to review, and I already have their tabletop easel, so I was extra excited to get this actual easel, like a plein air art easel, so I can actually go out and paint bigger. Now I only brought the 11 by 14 canvas out. I'm a little intimidated by the bigger 16 by 20, so I figured this would be a good start for me. So I do want to give you a few tips for setting up in the field for you to paint and just enjoy Mother Nature. So the first thing, if it were really, really sunny right now, I thought maybe it would be, you would want to find maybe a more shady spot. But since I have a lot of cloud coverage, I can kind of go wherever I want to out here, which is really nice. But I also want to find a super level spot, as level as you can with Mother Nature. This is like a little rocky, but it's not too bad. I don't need to be perfectly level, but this is good enough. So you definitely want to find a more level spot if you're setting up an easel like this one. And then again, be in the shade if you need to, but I don't have to do that today. And the next tip would be to, if you want to be farther away from people, you can. The parking lot is up this hill right here. So I didn't want to go too far because honestly, I didn't want to lug too much of my art supplies and camera supplies with me. But I am far enough away from the viewpoint that everybody that is coming up here is using. So just know that you might have people come up and look at what you're doing. But if you really don't want that, try to just be a little bit farther away. Or you could even go on a hike if you're bringing like less supplies or something. But for me today, I'm a little bit farther away from the parking lot. But if somebody wanted to hike down here and look at what I'm doing, I guess they could. But fingers crossed they don't. And if you're looking to get any more art supplies, I do have a discount code for you, Jacqueline Bear Art 10, and that is in the description below. Now I'm going to set up my palette. I decided instead of using the big wooden one it came with, I thought this would be easier, just the tearaway like palette sheets. So I'm going to be using this. And then I did bring 2 water cups. Ideally you might bring bigger water cups. Excuse the chatty birds that are in this tree behind you. Totally okay. I have these 2 cups that I just brought. This one's going to be for my dirty water to really rinse off all my brushes. And then this one is going to be my clean water if I need to dilute the paint. Although I try not to do that too much because with acrylic paints, if you add too much water to it, it starts breaking down like the binding agent and then it wouldn't sit on your canvas as well. So that's a little tip. So I do have it in case I do need to dilute the water a little bit. So on the back side of the easel here, I do have all of my paint colors. I think I'm just gonna stick with the primary colors mostly today. But something I do like to do on my palette is I like to keep my warm tones together, my cool tones together, and then like my neutrals, like my white and brown and black if I decided to use black, although I don't usually use black. So I kind of like to group them that way. You could do it as like a nice rainbow, but I just find it easier to keep my warm tones and my cool tones kind of in their own little corner. So let's set up the palette. So as I'm setting up my palette, I do want to look at the view that I'm going to be painting, which is this beautiful view, as you can see. And I'm kind of trying to see what colors there are. I see that there's a lot of green, so I want the colors that will mix green. I see red in the mountains, so I want to make sure I have some of my warmer tones of green. Sorry, there's a little chipmunk. My warmer tones of red, that's what I meant to say. And I do need blue for the sky, and then I do like to use white to kind of lighten my colors as well. So make sure when you're setting up your colors, you're looking at what you're actually painting to know what colors to set up. So you can see me putting a lot of just brownish color on here. So I kind of mixed the red and blue and yellow kind of to make my own like brownish color. And I want to do kind of an underpainting. It's going to help with your tones of your painting and also the fear of the blank canvas. So it's not too stark white as I begin. So I kind of watered this down to help it like go on a nice thin layer. Now I live in Colorado, so it is very dry here, so my acrylics are definitely going to dry quicker than perhaps where you live, where there might be a lot of humidity. So you can always prep your canvas before you leave your house. I could have done that, but I did not think about that. And from the brushes that they gave me, I am using the flat number 2. This is the biggest and widest bristles of a brush that they gave me. So that's what I'm using just to get this underpainting on. I kind of feel like Bob Ross, but he usually is in a studio, but I'm actually outside, so it's kind of cool. Lunch right there. Woo! It's getting windy. Okay. I was hoping for a nice summery sunset, but not getting that today. So now I'm going to start adding colors. So I like to start with the thing that is the farthest in the distance. So in this case, it'll be the sky. and then it'll be the mountains, and then the trees, and then the foreground. And things that are farther in the distance are going to be less saturated. So I am going to add a little bit of white to help keep things less saturated in the distance. And then as things come closer, I want it to be more vibrant, so I won't add like as much white. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the sky. But then I realized I didn't put a sketch in, so perhaps I should start with a sketch. I'm going to do a sketch. I'm just going to use this little round number 1. I'm going to use some of that mixture I'd already kind of made, but not as watery. And then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of sketch the loose shapes. So the mountain ridge, some of the places where the trees are. As you've seen in a lot of my videos, I do a very tiny amount of sketching. So I've just put in the very rough sketch. I might bring you closer so you can see this, but I did just put in the mountain ridge up there on the top. I added in some of the swoopy hills happening. And then I like to, for trees, the prominent trees, I just like to put just a line for the trunk, and there's some off to the left. Not a whole lot going on there, but that's a good place to start. So I'm just trying to get my main chunks of color on here, because when I'm painting plein air, especially let's say there's a whole bunch of clouds over here, if the sun started coming through and I wanted to capture the sun hitting it, I want to get that movement, those colors all in there, and I can always refine later. And another tip is you can, if this is the view and this is the lighting you want, you can always take a picture with your cell phone or something to use as a reference photo while you're painting, or even back in the studio. Because I feel like tonight, with potentially a storm or kind of getting cooler right now, I'm probably not going to be able to finish this fully right here, but I'm going to get as close as I can. As you can see, there's a spot of light over here on the left side, and if I wanted to capture that green color, I would quickly put it in. But I know where I'm framing my painting, and I'm actually not going to get that mountain all the way. So because it's really windy here, I'm actually having to add a little bit more water and mix smaller amounts so I can use it, and then I mix another amount. Perhaps where you live, you could mix a bigger amount. So it's kind of tricky for me because I have to remember kind of what my color recipe is to try to match the colors that I'm trying to get. So if you need to do that because it's really windy or dry where you are, try to mix a smaller amount because it's already drying on my palette. I suppose I could have brought a stay wet palette where you have, I think I've showed this before, but where you have a sponge underneath your palette. So next time I will bring that. So this brush holder that Meeden sent with all the brushes is really helpful, so I can fold the top part back and kind of tuck it in here really nicely. And I also pulled out the drawer here. Not all the way. I did put my water bottle back here to kind of balance it because I'm just afraid of it maybe toppling over. Maybe it wouldn't, I don't know. But I really like this brush holder so that it holds all my brushes right here. Okay, so it's getting a little bit chillier as the sun is going down. So I put on my jacket so I could be a little bit warmer. But I am starting to make some headway here. I thought next I would take a smaller round brush and kind of start going in and just defining some of the more prominent edges and different things that I want. So I'm going to add a few more details here, but I think I'm going to have to finish this back in the studio because the sun is going down behind the mountain. It's going to get dark really quickly. So that's another tip. If you're going out for plein air painting and you need more time, perhaps show up earlier than I did this evening, which is totally okay. I just wanted to get out here and start painting, and I just love being able to inspire you to go out into the outdoors. Again, I've said this many times, even if it's a park nearby, your backyard, going on a hike, going up to a mountain pass if you can, like I can today, just get outside and paint. That's like the most important thing I like to share with you all, is being in Mother Nature, because it's my absolute favorite place in the world, is being outside and painting if you can, like it, and so you're not just having to sit there and do nothing or something. I like being able to bring my paints with me, whether it's the acrylics I'm doing today or my watercolors when I'm hiking. It's just a wonderful thing to be inspired by Mother Nature and see the beauty all around us and try to capture that in a small little way like I am today. So I'm going to add a little bit more, but then I'm probably going to need to pack up and go back to the studio and finish it there. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I had so much fun. Thank you again, Meeden, for sponsoring today's video and sending me this whole kit. It is a dream. It is so fun. I am very excited to continue to do this all this summer. So I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.